Welcome back to Millennial Pagan Podcast, the podcast that aims to discuss issues and hot topics influencing the pagan world from a millennial perspective, focusing on how millennials intend to affect witchcraft, magic, and polytheistic worship. Hi, Jera!
Hi, Autumn.
Oh yeah, we're your hosts, Autumn Wolf.
And Jera Stone.
Ah!
That was, it's still kind of new to me, so it threw me off a little bit.
Oh yeah, our new intro.
Yeah.
I thought it kind of incorporates or encompasses us better because we're millennials talking in millennial language to some people about paganism and what we care about. And I figured our old intro where it flowed a little bit better because I was more used to it. Didn't really speak that.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Do you guys like the new intro? That's something I want an answer to.
I just thought it was important to emphasize that the millennial part isn't the important part, because I've gotten a lot of comments about how I'm not a millennial, but I love what you guys are talking about. And I'm like, I really appreciate that. Please feel free to continue to listen despite the fact that you're not a millennial, because the only point of millennial in that name is that we are.
Yeah.
Actually, all three of us are. We're actually going to do our first episode where we're going to have Sound Guy T not be just Sound Guy. He's going to be talky Sound Guy T.
And I'm Talkie Guy.
Yeah, and
Talkie.
and I'd love to introduce you, but I just can't say your name.
We had a white girl try it 5, 6, 7 times, and she don't get it yet.
Well, I mean, it's not easy to pronounce for really anyone. I mean, my real name is also difficult to pronounce, so I
figured that one out, though.
Yeah, it's... Thanks to a certain director having come up in the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very fortunate. No, it's Tlaloc. Tlaloc. He's the Aztec god of rain and thunder and lightning.
Tlaloc.
And that's actually the reason why we've been having a lot of rain and storms out here in Arizona.
It wasn't me, I swear.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I know we're kind of just going a little off the cuff this episode.
Yep.
We're actually going to be talking about something a little bit different, little fun.
Well, are you saying you don't have fun?
Well, no, I do have fun, but
okay.
I'm saying it's not really. I mean, it is going to be a little bit of a learning experience, but it's something that a lot of people I feel really enjoy.
Yeah, I think it has ties to the pagan community. It has historical connections to what paganism is now. So, and I think a lot of us in the pagan community just genuinely enjoy going to the Renaissance Festival.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about is Renaissance festivals. There will be a little bit of, hey, this is the pagan-y stuff about it. Like, why I think it's important for us to talk about it, and not just because me and Jared are going this weekend.
Yeah.
And Tlaloc. I got it. Did I get it?
You got it.
Woohoo!
You know, okay, I'm just going to say it. It sounds more Klingon to me than Aztec, but hey, it's actually pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure, Klingon and, oh shit, what's Spock? Take away my
Vulcan.
nerd card.
Vulcan.
Take my nerd
Hand
card.
it over.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So
So
I
disappointing.
think languages like that do have a connection into ancient languages. George R. Martin even said that he based what he wrote about as far as the... Here's my nerd card again.
No, that's okay. I actually forgot that one too.
The
Dothraki.
Dothraki.
Is based on actual ancient languages, and linguists were brought in to fill in the gaps for Game of Thrones. So
Yeah, no, but I think that's how I'm going to be hearing it in my head now. It's going to be more Klingon than Aztec.
Tlaloc. I'm in.
Tlaloc,
I'm
yeah.
so
actually,
in.
yeah, the way you said it, I could just the wrinkles added to your forehead. Wow, that sounded really mean. I'm sorry.
Why? Because I already have some there?
I wasn't going to emphasize that. Anyway.
I'm a millennial with forehead lines. It happens.
Yeah. So Sound Guy T, or Tlaloc, is on today because we're going to be talking about the Ren Fair, and he has a lot of history in the Ren Fair himself. But before we dive into that, he has to tell us his coming of witch story because it's the rules.
Yes.
It is the rules, and I intend to follow them.
Alrighty, go ahead, sir.
So much like a lot of the decisions I made in my life as I was getting older.
Wait, you're old?
Older.
Okay, continue.
When I was when I was about 14, 15, I kind of started realizing your cookie cutter Christianity, or how I was raised, Catholic.
Oh dear, we're a room full of recovering Catholics.
Catholics.
You got okay. Anyway, continue.
It wasn't feeling right for me, and not that I personally don't believe that the Bible has good stories. I think it has a lot of good stories. Helps us really kind of judge life and our decisions. A lot of good lessons.
It's a great book of Proverbs.
Yeah. But
Fables.
the stories, or rather, the churches, the organizations behind it, that they try so hard to really just sell you on it. They whatever they can to get money out of it. So I kind of started getting jaded with it as I got older. I stopped going to church, much to my mother's dismay.
Disappointing mother since 2008. 2004.
1994.
Oh, God.
Oh, you were, yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty young.
I'm an elder millennial.
You're an excentennial. Aren't you, like, right on the cusp of excentennial? I said it the right way.
Zennial. Okay.
I did.
It's because now you're trying to say it right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, I was raised in that cusp. And around 18 or 19, I met a girl. And much like many of my decisions in my 20s, it was because of a girl. Now, she introduced me to Wicca. She was the first Wiccan I had ever met. So I was actually fascinated by the entire concept of it. And I chose to just go ahead and start reading up on it. I bought a book, which my mom later found and disposed of. I had it hidden underneath my mattress. I was that terrified of my mother.
You hid your Wicca material under your mattress.
Well, among other things, but yes.
It had company.
Doesn't that make the bed lumpy when it's a thicker novel?
Not if it's a thicker mattress.
Oh.
I never noticed personally.
Yeah.
But
anyway. I'm actually, I need to give you props because you picked up a book and read for yourself.
Yeah.
So that was impressive for that age range when a girl told you this is a thing and you didn't just blindly go, okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, at that point I was already searching for where my spirituality lay. And, you know, this was an avenue that opened up before me. I wasn't sure if it was something I was going to follow down or anything like that. But I ended up just kind of really enjoying the natural aspect of it, how it ties to just life in general. And it really kind of just fascinated me, the whole concept of you know, being one with nature, and kind of understanding why I love personally the beach, like why I feel the most at home, the most at peace there. Because everyone has their natural surrounding where they feel the most comfortable. You have the forest. I have the beach. I don't know what yours is. I don't know if you have a specific one.
Sitting, playing video games.
Hey man, that's probably the most therapeutic way to find.
But honestly, it's outside. Actually, more at night. It doesn't matter where I am as long as I'm outside at night.
Okay.
That's what I really like.
The moonlight, the dark sky, absolutely. Whatever helps you find your center. So, over the course of several years at that point, it was really me just kind of still poking around, looking at different aspects of paganism, polytheism, the Norse gods, the Aztec gods, the Greek gods, Roman, or, you know, various different pantheons, Egyptian gods as well. For a while, I kind of just rode the line, really kind of more just focusing on my own personal beliefs as far as how I treat different people. So I kind of just chose the idea of a communal life energy. Like we all come from an energy source that fuels the universe. And that kind of started leading me down. I don't want to call it the Force, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, that's kind of an analog for it.
Right.
For life, for energy.
It's however you adapt to it and whatever you feel drawn to it.
So, as within the last few years, I kind of been getting a better feel for it. I was married previously. My ex-wife was a shaman, and she's very talented, very very intelligent woman. She's a Reiki master, and she taught me a lot about the different the polytheism in general and how she takes to it. Her patron is Bast. And I kind of started looking into that. This is really fascinating. Just, the whole patron gods. And that's kind of where I started falling towards my background, kind of understanding where my people came from, the natives of the Mexican land, the Aztecs, which is why I kind of started looking at their mythologies and the gods, Quetzalcoatl, Huitzilopochtli. I could keep going, but I'm just going to get tongue-tied. And Tlaloc kind of really just resonated with me. So I kind of started reading up on him, and yes, he's the god of thunder, rain, and lightning and all that. But he's also, and I need to pull this up only because I'm kind of spacing on it. But he's also not the god of harvests, but he's like the god of making things sprout.
Oh, okay. So the spring germination.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it kind of bringing life forward, and I love the idea of it. So that's what kind of just fascinated me, and he's my patron. So I kind of just been going down that road ever since, and meeting Autumn and Jera and our other friends, and really kind of finding a community here has been fantastic, which is why I was so happy to join up and help you guys run the show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, thank you. I really appreciate being here.
No. So, few questions. Sure. Do you find, or do historians from your research find that Aztec culture and Aztec religion is better written or better kept than, say, indigenous European traditions, or worse?
Well, it's hard to say because
comparing apples to oranges, I guess.
Yeah, and a lot. I mean, you look at the ancient cultures of Greece, of the Vikings, of the Romans. Those are, several thousand years old. Whereas the Aztecs were around up until about 500 years ago when they were killed off. So there's still a lot of recent history there that's still visible, that's they can still find. I mean, they can go back and look at the older races like the Incas, the Mayas, the Olmecs. They can keep going back, and those start getting older. Those start getting more difficult to find. But I mean, the Aztec culture, Tenochtitlan, the capital where Mexico City is currently sitting, there are still pyramids there that are still standing. You can go to Cancun, and if you want to get away from the beach, Chichen Itza's right there.
That's actually, everyone keeps saying Rocky Point, and I'm like, does Rocky Point have any cultural or historical relevance, or is it just beach? So that's why I'm like,
great beer.
No, and I'm the kind of vacationer that I'm like, I'm gonna go scuba diving one day, and then I'm gonna go see the historical stuff the next. So I kind of weigh a place as I don't want to just go to resort towns.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Well, and the it's kind of funny that you mentioned about the pyramids, because I'm half Hispanic as well. So my mom's side of the family is completely from Mexico, actually from a small town called Puebla, way down in the southerns of Mexico. And when I was really young, I think actually I was talking about this earlier today at work with a few friends. When I was younger, I actually went to I can't remember the name of the town, but it's the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon. And I climbed both of those when I was 8 years old. And when I was on the Pyramid of the Sun, I did the Pyramid of the Sun first. It was very, very difficult for me to actually climb that one. And this kind of ties in with my whole being outside at night. Going up the Pyramid of the Moon, I flew up that thing. So I kind of feel, a little bit more of a connection with that too. So it's kind of funny that you mentioned the pyramids, and that I was talking about that earlier today too. So
that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I unfortunately have not had that honor to actually explore the pyramids. My parents, that was their honeymoon.
Oh, wow.
They went to Cancun, but they didn't go to the resorts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were actually living in Mexico at the time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they went to the pyramids, they went into the little towns and really kind of bought all the little tchotchkes that you would buy in Cancun and whatnot when you travel into the city. But they really had the most fun exploring, the culture, the history. I mean, my grandmother she was the village healer in the town that they grew up in called Tepehuanes, Durango. And she taught all of her daughters a lot of that. My mom is a healer. But she's also a devout Catholic, so she refuses to acknowledge it. It's fine. I'm not gonna,
That's funny because my grandmother has a different thing that we call it a direct line to the saints. If she prays for it, it will happen. Or if she wants it, she'll get it. And it's very amusing that it's that way. Whereas one of my, I guess, sixth senses is if I ask myself a yes or no question about the future, I can usually say yes, no, or this person hasn't made a decision yet to make this a yes or no. And I can usually pinpoint whose decision needs to be made. Mm-hmm. And it's really about how close it is to me and how much it's going to affect my future personally. So it's not like, oh, I can look at you and make this yes, no question about myself, about how your life is going to go, unless it matters to me. Mm-hmm. So Jera, I can't yes or no if you're going to marry Sunshine, but obviously you guys haven't made that decision either. So that's one thing. But I can't tell what you're going to have for lunch tomorrow because it doesn't affect me.
I think I'm going to have steak.
I'm glad.
For lunch.
You go.
But is T gonna get in a car wreck tomorrow? No, because I'm not gonna get in a car wreck tomorrow, and we're spending the day at the Ren Fair. Mm-hmm. So,
thank you. I don't want to get in a car wreck ever. I've been in one. Not fun.
Yeah, no, not fun.
Anyway, not to put a whole negative down. No. So another thing, we might be sounding a little zany today. We actually talked about doing this episode while drinking because it was just the three of us. We are all three, well, at least me and T are stone sober. I'm pretty sure Jera's drinking water.
Yeah, it's water. Although I do have some whiskey over there, I need to go grab.
I know.
Anyway, if it's that peanut whiskey, you bring it back in here.
I will.
Peanut butter. You said peanut, and I was like,
It's yeah.
Dirty.
I was actually
Snoopy.
So today.
Never mind.
So today at work we actually had a potluck because it was our graduation day, and I was actually making my root beer ribs. Ooh. Yeah, I know, right? So I was actually thinking about throwing some of that peanut butter whiskey in there, but I remembered one of the people in class said one of their allergies was peanut, and it's made with actual peanut oil. So
oh yeah, no, definitely no. So back on topic. Mm-hmm. T,
yes.
Do you practice magic?
I can't say that I do, to be completely honest.
Okay.
I like #manifest like a mofo.
Oh, thank you. I came up with that. Well, I can't take all the credit.
I was gonna say
there was a lot of help.
Yeah.
But so I do like to not necessarily go through the process of spells or anything like that, but I do mantras, prayers, whatever you want to call it. I kind of just to kind of just get myself in the right mindset for, say, the day at work or going out and dealing with people, because I do also suffer from anxiety. So people is always.
Yeah, people are people.
So I have to kind of just put myself in that mindset. I manifest my self-confidence in that regard. Ooh. So that helps a lot. That's pretty much the extent of it. I don't really do any real more than that, other than just kind of when I meditate and just kind of just let myself process the world.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty much when you need it, it comes to you.
Yeah, basically.
And when you want it, you can make it happen.
That's what I learned as a boy. You want something, you get it. You work hard at it, you think about it, you find out what you need to do to get it, and then get it.
Yep.
Thank you for summing up the last 7 Magical Mondays. Right there.
Well, I mean, the hashtag kind of...
You're enjoying reading my Magical Mondays. I appreciate it.
I'd like to write a few.
Please. I'm running out of ideas, people. So when I planned hashtag manifest like a mofo magical Monday tips, I wrote down about 20. I've planned out through March. I've done January, February, March. So how many Mondays? Y'all count that?
It's between 12 and 14, 15.
Yeah, I'm running out.
Okay.
And my fear is doubling up. So if you ever see a double up, please don't call me out on it. I'll cry.
It's true. She will. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
No,
I've seen it
I'll just be embarrassed with myself. Like, really, I've already told you all that. But you never know. There might be a newbie who just started following us on Twitter or Facebook who haven't read it yet, or it might sink in the different way that I say it, because I guarantee, because I forgot about it, I'm not going to write it the same way. So, I think
I do have a couple of the Magic Tip Mondays, some ideas.
Fantastic.
Well,
Cool.
Well, on that note, I think we're going to take a short break. I'm going to stop this love-hate relationship with my mic, and they're going to write down their tips, and then we're actually going to talk about the Ren Fair.
Cool. Okay.
Woo!
All right, and we are back here, Millennial Pagan Podcast. We are getting ready to talk a little bit about the Renaissance Festival, not just the one in Arizona, but kind of as a more of a community thing. That you might find. If you're outside of Arizona, you might have a Ren Fair that you go to that's close to you. And, hopefully, and some of those performers might actually be visiting you sometime soon.
Yeah, that you'll recognize. I know during the break we were talking a lot about how it helped us in our pagan paths, and how, like with cons, you feel a sense of community, you feel a sense of at home when you're at these types of events, like Renaissance festivals or SCA events and such. So we're actually going to turn it now over to Tlaloc to talk about the history of the Renaissance fairs and Renaissance festivals. So go ahead, dude.
So this is the funniest thing that I came across when I was doing my research for this. Renaissance festivals are, up until last 20 years or so, were a wholly American thing. It started just after the end of World War II. They kind of started exploring more the Renaissance history, medieval history, kind of creating fun outings for people. The first official, I guess you want to call it, fair was actually in California. The California Renaissance Pleasure Fair is what they're called.
Okay, yeah.
And it was the very first one, 1962, the very first original formed public one, as opposed to people having their own little individual parties and whatnot. But yeah, that one is still running. That one, it actually starts just after ours here in Phoenix does.
Oh.
So, but it's been going on since the 1960s. It kind of spread to Australia and New Zealand. It doesn't seem to have a European aspect of it. The Europeans do have similar events, but England doesn't have any, which is like my favorite part, because you go to any Renaissance fair, they are a little village in Renaissance England, Elizabethan England. But you go to England, they don't have any. They do have a similar fair, but for Vikings, and that's in York.
Interesting.
It is kind of interesting. I kind of want to check that out because that seems kind of interesting.
Was York at one point taken by Vikings?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest, but I wouldn't be surprised. They kind
Historian
of were everywhere.
listeners, tell us. Educate us.
But yeah, I mean, they have different fairs. Like they'll do some medieval fairs in Europe, not necessarily in the UK.
Right.
But they'll do medieval, they'll do Renaissance, they'll do sort of a blend of all of them, just to kind of have fun. But the actual Renaissance festival, like the circuit, which is what's actually called, where they have, different shows, different entertainers will travel to the different fairs across the country throughout the year. The Arizona Renaissance Festival is the very first one of the calendar year.
Oh.
So everyone is starting here fresh after the holidays, ready to kind of put on their best show.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And it's awesome because having worked at the Renaissance Festival, I've gotten to meet a lot of these people. They're fantastic people. They have this life about them, like, because performing is their life.
Right.
They're on the road all the time. And then they'll go from show to show. They'll go from here, then they'll go to either LA, or they'll go to Texas, or they'll go to Colorado, or they'll start making their way east.
Right. And isn't Texas the last one of the year?
Let me actually check the calendar. I'm not sure where Texas falls in as far as time frames.
Because I know it's late.
I know that Texas is the biggest one. Like Texas Renaissance Festival, I think last year not last year, but in the last few years, they hit their highest at over 680,000 people.
No, I believe it. But they have camping out there too.
Yeah,
so
they do.
That's a big deal about
They
it.
do.
It's not just the performers or the people working the fair that camp, it's everybody.
Yeah. And it's gorgeous. They have an amazing lot where they have 55 acres.
Oh!
Yeah.
Wow.
It's massive.
That's a lot of space.
Yeah. But it's really cool. It's like a lot of the performers here that come to this show, they also go and perform at TRF. The Arizona Renaissance Festival is actually is owned by the same person that owns the Carolina Renaissance Festival. So about 6 months after the Arizona Renaissance Festival, the Carolina Renaissance Festival starts. So a lot of the same groups, they actually fulfill their contract as well to go and perform at Carolina.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, if you go to a lot of these shows, if you ever go to like Georgia, or you go to TRF, or you go to Ohio Renaissance Festival, you're going to see a lot of the same performers. From what I've heard, they actually like to do different shows for the different fairs, so they don't get stale, or they cycle them. Because, I mean, there are a lot of people who travel. There are people who will go from here to LA, or they'll go from here to Colorado, and they don't want to have the same stale stuff over and over again. That gets boring after a while, I'm sure.
No.
Oh yeah, no, I've done performing and stuff like that, and yeah, we change up our shows at least once a year, if not once every month, if we could stand it.
Right.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed, so I follow Barely Balanced, which is an act that we see here in Arizona. I've seen it in Atlanta. That is not a tumbling act, but they're
a acrobatics balancing act. Literally, it's in their name, Barely Balanced.
Yes. And so I follow them on Instagram, and one of the things that I noticed on their Instagram is that during the off season, during the holidays and such, they were posting the different clinics and the different places that they went to train, where people who are professional trainers for doing these stunts, doing these balancing acts, doing the acrobatics, are training them how to do different things, or helping them rebuild different sets and different just a different show every year. So they're learning something new. They're working together and getting stronger. And one of the things that Medium, which is their stage names are small, medium, large, posted was that he's a short male person. And he was surprised that he was able to lift his wife in a certain way that he didn't think he could do. And his wife is small, who is a fairly small female.
I would call her petite.
Yes, she is a very petite lady. Yes, and so it was just it's very interesting to watch what they're doing these things in their off time, air quotes, to improve their show. And so that it's not that stale.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I will have to say this, though. Personally, I've been going to the Ren Fair for years, and out here, I actually have never been to any fairs outside of Arizona. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite acts is Hey Nunny Nunny. It's pretty much a pair of nuns that do just a hysterical show with jokes and a couple of songs, and I've actually gotten picked on by them a couple of times. But every year, it's essentially the exact same show. Sometimes I go multiple times per year, and it's the exact same show. But these two ladies have the best comedic timing I've ever seen, to where even though it's the exact same show, the exact same joke, it's still hysterical.
There's something about the nuns that's just so wonderful. And if you ever see them or interact with them as they're walking between shows or the stages, they will interact with you and they will make you just fall over laughing. They're just wonderful people. They're quick. Mm-hmm. They're just fantastic. And they're sweet, sweet ladies, too.
Oh, yeah.
They're so smart. They're adorable.
So, one of the things I want to talk about, because we are Millennial Pagan Podcast, is why does the Ren Fair care? Like, why do we care? Why are we talking about it? We'll get into kind of the social aspects about why today we like it. But historically speaking, some very influential pagans took life in the Ren Fair for a good portion of the time. The original writer and publisher of The Green Egg, where we get a whole lot of our history from. If you don't know who that is, it is Oberon Zeal and his wife Morning Glory. They shaped paganism in ways that if you haven't read something they've published, read old articles of The Green Egg or such, if you haven't read a pagan zine at all, they're constantly referred to as how good are they compared to the Green Egg. Right. So they shaped what we're doing, or they helped shape it to extreme amount. They started raising unicorns, and I mean unicorns. So picture a unicorn in your head. Add a beard, and some of you are like, I already had a beard on it. Why do I have to add? It's fine. Add the beard to a unicorn. Make it short.
It's a goat.
I like that boulder. Anyway, yes, it's a goat. And what they realize when they're looking at the ancient tapestries or the older tapestries and seeing that actual facial hair, for lack of a better term, on the unicorns, they were like, they do look like goats. So they adopted goats, and they realized that through surgical means that they can make the ports or the pores where a baby goat's horns would grow, infuse them into one, and the horn will grow. Mm-hmm. And so they had, I think, 4 or 5 unicorns that they raised. The most popular one is Lancelot. You can look this up and see pictures of actual legit unicorns. And they had 2 of them that they took with them. And Oberon did a set of fairs, and Morning Glory did a set of fairs. And they just, one of them had one unicorn, the other had another, and they went around these fairs. And because of that, they were at the Renaissance fairs talking to people about paganism, talking to people about raising the unicorns and touching the earth and being more earth conscious and goddess worshipping. Oberon was very Gaia centered, very earth worship. And Morning Glory was a witch. She was very much witchcraft and at that time modern witchcraft. And this was going on in the 70s and 80s. And Jera's pulling a picture of Lancelot and showing Tlaloc, who's like, yeah.
That's actually pretty cool. Yeah.
I was astonished when I saw a picture of Lancelot how large his horn really is. Yeah. It's huge. Yeah. And because of that, they helped make Renaissance culture. I mean, you go to your Renaissance fair and they usually have a petting zoo. And they usually have a quote-unquote unicorn. Granted, it's usually a horse with a horn on it, but it still gives those kids the majesty, the magic, gives them the feel. Like, little kids aren't going to tell that that's a fake horn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little sad that we don't have real goat unicorns, because me as an adult would still be like, whoa, that's cool. And little kids would be like, why is it so short? And that's fine. You can keep going, why is it so short? Air breathe. And it's like, that's fine, kid. I want to know the science behind this move. But I mean, that's something that we're used to, is seeing them, the mother gooses and sometimes kittens, and you get to pet a goat. I pet a goat last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think the petting zoos are just so much fun. There's so many different animals, and then just everybody's there is just so happy. Like, you feel the positive energy of all these fun animals. Like, you can see them, you can pet them. They're always friendly. None of them are ever really kind of...
As a grown woman, I probably shouldn't enjoy a petting zoo as much as I do.
I'm older than you, and I still enjoy it, so whatever.
Yeah, as a grown man, I love going to the petting zoo and petting a little potbelly pig.
Now, if it was just like having to go to a petting zoo, I wouldn't be like, but since it's at the Ren Fair, it's a good 15 minutes to just waddle around and have you some animal contact.
Yeah, you kind of just slow down, take it easy, just kind of enjoy the nature of it, the different animals, and... Sometimes the horse will spit on you, but what are you going to do?
You've been spat on?
It's a long story.
I've had a goat chewing at my dress, but that was about it.
Yeah. And actually, it wasn't one of the horses at the petting zoo. I don't even think they have horses at the petting zoo.
Last year they did. They had one horse with a fake horn. That's where I'm getting my info from.
Oh. Yeah, I was there with you. How do I not remember this?
I don't know.
It was just as you enter, it's right off to the left.
Yeah, and I was looking at it. I wanted to pet it. Because it was a horse. It was pretty.
It was a pretty big horse, too. So yeah. I'm surprised you didn't see it.
I might have seen it, and I'm just tuning it out for some reason. But that's me. We'll get to see him again tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah, props. Unless it's too muddy and they're the dainty feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean the horses or you?
Oh, dude, no. I'm planning on being like knee high in mud. It's fine. It's fine. It's been raining for the past 3 days here, and when it rains, our ground isn't prepared for that.
No.
We don't have like the root system of constant grass to protect it. We don't have huge tree root systems. We have sand.
The lake, or the park that's right up the way from my house is a lake right now.
Yep.
In fact, it's funny. I worked at the Renaissance Festival 1 year where they had a lot of rain. So there was there was a front part of the fair was underwater. It had a little lake in it. Mm-hmm. So it became Lake Fairhaven. It's there. Let's just take advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's just, it'll be more realistic, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure villages got flooded all the time during heavy rains.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's England.
We used to do that a lot when I was working at Rawhide. There'd be a little part of town that was just completely flooded. We call it Lake Rawhide. And if we were doing a street show because it was too unsafe to do it in the theater, we would always, I wouldn't say we would draw straws to see who would do a splashdown, but I usually volunteered to do it.
It's just fun.
It is. Just get shot and land in a big puddle and splash everybody that's around it. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who plays a sheriff down at Tombstone, and he gets to pick who's going to fall into the horse trough.
Nice. Today, it's going to be you. You're going to regret what you told me yesterday.
Right. You forgot my coffee.
You forgot my creamer in my coffee. Ooh. Yeah, that's a mortal sin. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, not only that, Pagans and Ren Fair go way back. I know, T, you were telling us about how a lot of the cast members are either pagan or pagan adjacent, open-minded to paganism.
A lot of them are very open-minded at the very, very least. They're wonderful people. These are people who have always loved to act, to perform, to entertain, and generally, people who like that tend to be a little bit more open-minded about different things, like faith and all that.
And historically, stage workers were always usually open.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of it is friendly. A lot of them are friendly. A lot of the vendors are also very open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's quite a few of them that sell incense, that sell different powders as well. That will sell the jewelry as well.
Of course.
And it's just it's so wonderful to be able to go and just kind of feel at home.
Yes.
Around that kind of an environment, and everyone is just so friendly and so welcoming too. So the performers, the cast members, the actual people in the booths, who are all their own little individual businesses, by the way. So they don't actually work for the Ren Fair or anything like that. They have their own businesses. The only people I think who pretty much don't have any real connection to that tend to be the people who are running the kitchens.
Yeah.
Mainly because, they don't do a lot of the interacting. They just basically are are allowing us to stuff our faces.
Right. With turkey legs sometimes.
Looking forward to a Scotch egg.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Well, and this is the strangest thing. When I worked at the Renaissance Festival, we have a little village where we actually have a lot of the people cook traditionally so that you can kind of see how it was done back in the day. I tried haggis. Now, I know a lot of people listening hear the word haggis and they're like, ugh. No, let me tell you something. Haggis is amazing.
If it's done
so
right.
Good. Yes.
If it's done right, haggis can be probably one of the best things you've ever put in your mouth.
Yes, it is absolutely stunning. And it's done traditionally, too. But it's something else, let me tell you.
Autumn, you're drooling. Not on the mic.
No, I'm not. I think she's a little concerned, actually.
Anyway. So, yes. The Renaissance Festival, your local Renaissance Festival, is a great place that you can stock up on your tools, get you some nice wares. And it's also a great place where you can meet other people. Remember, like we were talking about, sometimes even these stores are people that are constantly traveling. So they're not going to know where you can find a coven, where you can find a group, whatever. But they're going to be a little bit more open. If you start talking about it, you might have somebody overhear you and go, oh, hey, let me steer you. So it is a haven or a place where you can get that social networking started. Yeah. In Atlanta, one thing I want to say, this is a free advertisement for Unleash the Goddess. If you are in Atlanta, when Ren Fair comes around, go to Unleash the Goddess. They are local witches to Atlanta. They're also the group Spiral Rhythm. So they're not only actual local pagans, they are also local pagan musicians who produce music and just have, if you're like me and you enjoy costuming and Saharas and really pretty stuff, you want to go to Unleash the Goddess. So
yeah.
That's my free plug. You're welcome.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
This is not sponsored by Unleash the Goddess in any way, shape, or form.
Or Spiral Rhythm. But if Spiral Rhythm wants us to play their music, we will be happy to. Just email me.
Yes.
Kara. Anyway, and that's another thing, is that sometimes you will find stores that are done by pagans. Sometimes you won't.
Sometimes you'll find entertainment
by pagans.
Mm-hmm. I know that I'm not too sure of their paganage, but I know some of my friends are playing at Ren Fair this year, Far From Home.
Yep. They are pagan adjacent. Actually,
pagan adjacent,
what's amusing is that Oberon and Morning Glory were poly too. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
Yep, our friends from Far From Home. I have known them. I have had the pleasure of knowing them for about the last 6-7 years. Mm-hmm. I met them actually through my ex-wife, who had met them at the Renaissance Festival, because of course. And they are just absolutely wonderful people, incredibly talented.
Yes.
And they're so much fun.
Yes.
They are a riot.
And actually, the first time I heard about Far From Home is when actually you and I went to the Harry Potter birthday party because Merlin is part of the band, and this last year during the Harry Potter birthday party at Changing Hands, he actually reached out to me because we had met again at the Phoenix Fan Fest Con Fiesta Palooza, the Comic-Con thing down here.
So many words.
Yeah.
The not getting sued play thing.
Yeah. But it's nice because I didn't know about the band. I had actually heard the music before. Didn't know anything about them, and then when he had mentioned, I was like, wait a minute.
They added a new band member, a Rubber Chicken.
I heard about that.
Actually, the Rubber Chicken is an original member.
Oh.
The chicken is a founding member.
It came back. There was probably some feuding going on.
It wasn't a feud. The chicken just needed some time to kind of discover itself.
Oh, okay.
He needed to venture off and do his own musical things.
Yeah. He kind of grew, and then he came back.
You remember my Poison Ivy wig?
Yes.
A couple of my other cosplay wigs I ended up giving to one of the members of Far From Home. Just because cosplay and me are having a break.
That's fine.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it is.
It's an expensive habit, and I have way too many of those, and it's like, I need to put you on the back burner. Mommy needs her an apron dress for next Friend Fair because it's been too cold every year.
Oh, God, tell me about it.
And Mama needs some more tattoos.
I'm wearing a kilt on Sunday.
I know.
It's going to be cold.
Why would you do that?
Hopefully the weather will cleared up by then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 52 for the high. I know there's people in like the Midwest and other countries who are just like...
52. Really?
Well, I wish it was 52. Desert dwellers. And it's like, no. At 55?
Okay.
The face he just made.
Well, so you and I are going tomorrow. It's currently Friday night. It's going to be 55 for a high.
Right. In Tempe. This is Apache Junction.
Chandler, actually.
Really?
But
yes, yeah.
According to my trusty magical pixie box, which is what they call cell phones at the Renaissance Festival. On Sunday it'll be 62.
Okay, I should be fine.
We hate you.
I'll wear the long stockings.
I'm gonna have a freaking parka tomorrow.
So 55, even when I lived in Georgia, where it did get cold, people, I lived in the North Mountains of Georgia, I wore leggings or stockings under my jeans, because at that point it was cold enough that I need more layers, and I'm a wuss, let's be honest. So whenever it gets below 50 is usually when you see this tiny little ginger, like, covered in layers of puffy things and stuff, and you're like, is there a person under there? And I'm like, here's a $7, give me my coffee.
Do you turn into the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
I do, but it's of multiple colors.
He starts walking around
Stay
like
Puft Marshmallow Ginger.
You know, Joseph, of his many colors of his jacket, yeah, it's me, but many colors of layers. There's like one hat that's purple and one hat that you can barely see that's green, and two scarves, one's covering my eyes and the other.
I think we need to write a play or a musical. Autumn and the Technicolor Parka.
Technicolor fluff.
Yeah.
There's three socks, and it's just trying to go to the bathroom in that ensemble is usually fun.
No.
I'm going to have a pair of jeans on, a t-shirt, and my hoodie, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, my beanie.
Leggings, a thermal, my underdress, my Irish overdress, a cloak, and a scarf, and I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with my ears.
Beanie.
That's not historically accurate.
Are you really going for accuracy, or are you going for, oh my God, I don't want my ears to catch frostbite?
A little.
Your funeral.
I'm a girl. I have to be pretty.
If you lose your ear, you lose your ear.
I only use it for, like, the podcast.
Yeah.
That's true. And you really only need the actual inside part. You don't need the outside part, really. Except to keep your headphones on, to be fair.
And if that, I mean, duct tape.
Anyway, I think we've gone way off topic.
Like I said, it was going to be a fun show.
It's a little crazy of a show, but yeah. So I would definitely encourage, if you've not been to one, go, have fun, enjoy yourself. We're obviously going to this weekend.
Yeah.
I know it will be afterwards that you actually listen to this, but it's not just something fun for the whole family. Pagans can get a lot more out of it just by being pagans. Like I said, you're going to find tools that you didn't know you needed, and things to spend money on, and shows that you're going to be like, I get that nuance a little bit deeper because I know stuff about things that y'all don't.
Yeah, that other people don't, that you normies don't.
Yeah.
The mumbles.
And my favorite part is the energy that you feel when you're there.
Yeah.
You feel so comfortable because you feel like you're at a place where A, you're outside, you're in nature. B, you're surrounded by people who are also trying to give positive energy and just try to enjoy themselves. And your community's there. They might be a little hidden depending on where you are, but they're there.
And I was talking with somebody, I think the first year I was here at Arizona, who works the fair, and she was like, in Georgia, they're a little bit more out about paganism. And I was like, well, that's because the rest of the year, we can't talk about that. And I'm like, here in Phoenix, it's a little bit easier to be more open, be more out about it. So it's like, oh, yeah, I'm pagan. As opposed to, you're pagan too?
Yeah.
Where do you live? Oh, in Buttville, Pennsylvania. I live down in Scaryville.
Well, see, and the nice thing, this is actually going to be the first year that I'm going to be actually wearing my my pagan kilt that actually has has my pentacles on it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be kind of interesting who I see there, because from what I've heard, there's going to be a lot of people from my old church that are going after church.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
But well, we're going. Some of the fairs have themed days, and we're going during Time Traveler Day, and Arizona Ren Fair Time Travelers Week, and what's the face?
It's not Saturday, it's only Sunday.
Boo!
I know.
But the TARDIS, which was what I was getting to, there's a TARDIS that's always outside for Time Travelers Weekend.
For the whole week.
Provided by AZ TARDIS, which a couple of my friends run.
Right on.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Well, it's outside of the main gate all year or all week during Time Travelers Week. But apparently it's only on Sunday.
Well, the actual Time Traveler Day is Sunday specifically, but it usually does tend to be a weekend where a lot of the patrons will come in their cosplay already anyway. So
Right.
one thing that always amuses me every year that I go is the number of people dressed up as the main character or characters of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. I'm guilty of that for 1 year.
Yeah.
I mean, the hoodie's so easy to get.
Oh, yeah, totally.
There's going to be like maybe 2 listeners who get this and go, but I've always wanted to do Sakura from Tsubasa Chronicles, because in Tsubasa Chronicles, they time and dimension hop. So
I could actually see that. I think I have actually seen somebody who did that at least once.
It's really hard and obscure to find somebody who does in Sakura anymore, but it's one of my soul characters. Like,
yeah,
she's my girl. You know, except for the memory loss and stuff.
Which, again, very, very vague reference. Well, I think that's pretty much gonna
wrap us up.
Wrap up, yeah.
Well, we just had a major big full moon, so next new moon we'll talk about during the next episode and its importance. If you are thinking about coming out to book club, Pagan Book Club Pagan Book Talk Phoenix Valley has changed locations to Extreme Bean. We are still the first Sunday of the month, but we are now 4:30 to 6:30 at Extreme Bean Coffee. And you can find more information on that on my Facebook page if you were interested in coming out. Is Patreon worth it?
Oh, of course Patreon is worth it.
And by that, I mean, is it worth it to support us on Patreon?
Oh, of course, because not only do you get the feel goods of supporting an upstart podcast to reach out to the world, but of course we give you a nice big thank you on the show for everybody who supports, no matter what level you are.
Yes.
But of course, if you give a little bit more, you do get a little bit more. We've got stickers. We've got buttons. We've got, of course, some new thank you cards that are going to be coming out really soon.
Yep, they look spiffy.
Yep, and of course, that monthly minisode that is exclusive to Patreon members.
Woo! Yes.
So, yeah.
And that's a 30-minute minisode that you get once a month just for Patreon supporters. And sometimes we do things like let the Patreon supporters decide the topic for that minisode. Sometimes it's a lot like what you're hearing now. Me and Jera just jabbering away. Sometimes T interjects when necessary to remind us that, hey, y'all aren't just bickering amongst yourselves. So you can find the podcast on, of course, Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Millennial Pagan Podcast. If you type that in any of those search bars, you will find us. You can find Jera,
of course, on Twitter at Jera Stone, or on Instagram at Hagrid_cosplay, which, by the way, if you guys are listening and you guys know about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, they're opening up a new coaster that's Hagrid themed. Spread the word. Because Hagrid needs to get there.
well, it's a day before your birthday.
It's a day before my birthday, so it'd be an awesome birthday present.
Yes.
Especially if Universal Orlando reached out and said, hey, you're an awesome cosplayer. Get over here.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to manifest like a mofo right now. Because I heard, because today I actually heard about the opening date. And I'm like, that's a day before my birthday. I'm a Hagrid cosplayer. That's a Hagrid-themed roller coaster that actually has the carts that look like Hagrid's motorcycle. I choked. But yeah, it's manifest like a mofo time.
Yes, we will help you manifest that. We will throw some magic at you.
Yeah,
if I had cool. Water, it'd be flicking right in your face. So you can find me at Facebook as Autumn Wolf with an E at the end of Wolf. On Twitter, same. Instagram is our Instagram. So, I mean, I don't have my own. It's way too much stuff, guys. And you can also read some of the stuff that I've wrote previously and that I might write in the future at my WordPress, which is Iron Wolf Circle. So the smiles continue. I'm editing something right now. Hold on, guys. I'm trying. I promise. I keep telling everyone at the end of every episode, like, I'm publishing something sometime.
Well, you just went through a big change with work, so I think it's understandable.
I don't think I've published anything new since the podcast came out because this is where all my magic energy's been lying, and like all the things I want to talk about is coming out.
Well, why don't you write about that?
Because they hear about it here.
Well, no. I mean, like your process. Going through creating the podcast and what you kind of went through and how it's kind of magically aligned for you and for the show. Then I think that would actually be a really good topic to write about, because you never know, there might be somebody listening who wants to do something like this, and it could be inspirational.
If you want to do something like this, or you have a topic that you want to talk about, and you are somehow specially knowledgeable about this topic, drop us a line at millennialpaganpod at gmail.com, and we will interview you to maybe interview you on the air.
That too.
Yeah. So, from all of us here at Millennial Pagan Podcast, merry meet.
Merry part.
And merry meet again.